Let me start by giving a very warm welcome to Dr. Quraishi. Let's all give him a big hand for the elections.
Sucheta Dalal, Devashish, Indrani, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Devashish, for a very generous introduction. I'm extremely delighted to be here this evening to interact with you. This proposal had been pending for a few months now, along with some other requests from some organizations of Bombay. My apologies for forcing Sucheta to advance this program by half an hour because I have an outer limit of 7:45, 7:50 to go to another function which also has been pending for some time. But thank you very much for accommodating my request and being all here so punctually. It never happens in Delhi. But don't go back flattered because your record in turnout on the polling day. Ladies and gentlemen, when we go anywhere in the country and anywhere in the world, if people know anything about India in one word, what will that be? Democracy. Population democracy. Democracy is indeed our USP. Everybody knows that we are a large democracy. We will say we are the largest democracy. Some say we are one of the largest democracies. But if I tell you how large is this largest, you will really be amazed. With 75 crore voters, 750 million voters, we have more voters than all 50 countries of Europe put together, plus 20 countries of South and Central America into this, makes it 70. Throw in an Australia and a New Zealand for a small change, and that's what India's electorate. And somebody might say, what is the big deal about your numbers? You have the population, you have the numbers. But our attention to the last voter is also something to be proud of. We have a polling station for a single voter in Gir Forest of Gujarat. Till last year, we had another polling station in Kerala where there was a single voter booth. And we had done research on the voting habits of this voter. He used to come after lunch at 2 o'clock. But we had to open our polling station at 7 because that's a legal requirement. Even after he had voted, you will imagine that we'll pack up and go. We cannot. Because somebody may come later after him and say that he was not the real voter, I am the voter. So you have a disputed vote there. So we keep our shop open till 5 o'clock. Last year he died, unfortunately. And there was a small headline in a newspaper, death of a polling booth. Well, while we were mourning that death, fortunately there was one more person keeping the flag flying, this priest in Gir Forest of Gujarat. There was a news item in the Hindustan Times, some adventurous journalist went to him, interviewed him, and he complained that nobody comes seeking his vote. They think it's too much of an effort. But they are mistaken. There is a message there. Not very far from Gir Forest to Gujarat, Rajasthan, there was a candidate who was the president of the Congress party in the state and would have been the chief minister of Rajasthan if he had won. He lost by 1 vote. And when he was losing, he rang up with the returning officer with the request that his postal ballot could be recounted. As you know, EVM doesn't need any recounting. So postal ballots, there were about 150 of them. We recounted them in 15 minutes, same result. He called up again. He said, can you tabulate the totals from these machines? Another 5-7 minutes, same result. His third phone call was to thank us for a free and fair election. A side story, his wife had not voted that day. So There is a lesson in everything. I spoke to him. I spoke to him after the election because we had heard about it, and then he explained that not just his wife but his daughter too, they had not voted because they had gone to the temple. So another moral of the story that on the day of poll, it is the temple of democracy which takes precedence or on any other temple. But in any case, he moved on. He did not even file an election petition. Losing by one vote and accepting the verdict with grace, that is the beauty of India's election. He is now a member of Lok Sabha and he is a union minister for surface transport. Now, we have many polling stations with two voters, three voters. You are in marketing, you are in business. When Pepsi and Coke are competing and they capture 1% or 2% of market share, they celebrate. If some product captures 30% of the market, they are delighted. But for us, our market share is 100%. In the business, the last mile is very, very difficult to achieve. Whether it is optic fiber or gas pipeline, they will come to you with great promises, and after covering Bombay, when you have to go into the interior, these companies will go for arbitration because they don't want to go to the last mile. It's difficult to get there. Not the election commission. We have to have as good an election on the border of China in Tawang, or in the deep island of Andaman and Nicobar, which is closer to Indonesia than the Indian mainland, as efficiently as a polling station in Mumbai. No question about that. 100%, it has to be 100% to the last voter. And we do it year after year, and the changeover of power is always so smooth. Election Commission has never failed to conduct the election in time. Every election has been so credible that you see this spectacle in India when a losing prime minister or a losing chief minister offers his chair with folded hands to his successor. Doesn't happen in many countries. After every election there is violence, there is trouble, the cities and the countries burn. Not in India from day one. And when it is started, it has been like that from the beginning. When India opted for democracy and gave universal voting rights to women and men, equal voting rights at the same time in 1950, the Western world was aghast. They were surprised. Look at these stupid people. What has happened to them? A country with 86% illiteracy, which is caste-ridden, divided into communities, divisions of all kinds. How will they manage their democracy? What a misadventure. What will they do? But we have proved everybody wrong. Every now and then we hear, even in America, EVM is not used. Why are you using it in India? I would like to tell you that even in America, it took 144 years to give voting rights to women. So what model are we talking about? Who has to teach whom? That's something we should be proud of. The mother of all democracy is UK. They took 100 years to give equal voting rights to women, and here was our poor country, which gave voting rights from day one. What has made this exercise so successful? The framers of our constitution. Very far-sighted people, the kind of constitution they wrote, the institution of election commission which they created is the best institution in the world. The most powerful election commission in the world probably is the Indian Election Commission. They made it fiercely independent, totally from outside the government control. Much as somebody in the government may like to believe that they can control us, so our law minister. But I'm very grateful to him. In a way, they have a great influence on us because they made the Election Commission famous after the recent controversy. The sheer independence of the commission from any kind of control from outside has really been the greatest factor for our delivering a perfect election. Now, you will like to know what are the sources of our power. As I said, Constitution is the foundation. Then the laws enacted under the Constitution by Parliament, electoral laws and all other laws which talk about election process, free and fair election. Then the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has been our guardian angel. But for the Supreme Court, the government always has this temptation to nibble at the power, cut into our neutral independence some way or the other. But Supreme Court has always come down heavily. And they have given us more power than even the Constitution had given in the first place. Like power to transfer anybody. It was mentioned in the Constitution, but in the implementation, state governments used to drag their feet till the time of Mr. Session. Then a case went up to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said nothing doing. Whosoever is demanded by Election Commission has to be placed at the disposal of Election Commission. The day we issue our notification and we announce the dates of elections, every state has to issue a notification that from today, everybody from the Director General of Police to the last constable are at the disposal of Election Commission and will take no orders from anybody except the Election Commission. Recently, in one state, UP, they issued a notification which we thought was a bit clever. They selected some people who were directly in line of election management. They said that these are the guys who are placed at the disposal. This is not acceptable. Take back the notification, issue the notification that unconditionally from everyone, DGP to the constable have to be. Of course, they immediately corrected that mistake. But these are the efforts which they keep trying, exploratory adventures which the governments keep indulging into. If you are not alert, if you are not vigilant, they may even succeed. There was a time when we had asked for a single company of paramilitary force. One company is about 100 people. Home Ministry refused. No, we cannot afford. Case went up to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said, whatever is their requirement, you have to give. Last general election, the 5 elections which we conducted recently, 780 companies were deployed by us for the election duty. They are drawn from the borders, from here, there, everywhere, to the last possible. Of course, we are also very reasonable. We do not want to jeopardize our security, international borders, but to the extent they can be redeployed from here and there, they are all mobilized to ensure free and fair election. There was a time when we used to haggle very hard with the Home Ministry. Not anymore. We have told them, look, if we are a civilized society, we are a civilized country, the peaceful and free and fair election is the first charge on your law and order machinery. A country which cannot conduct free and fair and peaceful election, well, is a banana republic. So they accept that. They accept that, so no questions are asked. Whatever is our requirement, which of course we reasonably negotiate with them, they make everything available to us. Then I would like to give credit to political parties also. The much maligned political parties, but one of the factors, one of the sources of our power and success is the political parties and a beautiful instrument that we have created, that is the Model Code of Conduct. The Model Code is not a law. It's a voluntary code developed by political parties themselves for self-discipline. And what does it talk about? That they will not indulge in any inflammatory speech. They will not appeal to caste or community. They will not incite violence. They will not even indulge in personal attack on each other to keep the campaign healthy. It's a beautiful instrument given by political parties. It is fashionable to attack the politicians, sab chor hai, that kind of thing. This is a very dangerous thinking. Because you can't have a situation where you love democracy and you hate politicians. Can you have democracy without politicians? And all politicians are not bad. The fact that we are a virtual superpower in the world, how has it happened in a short span of, in a history of nation, 60 years is nothing. How did it happen? Thanks to political leadership. Look at our neighboring countries. We got free at the same time. Where are they and where are we? Difference is political leadership. So painting them all black and demonizing them is a very dangerous thing, and that's a hobby I think we should desist from. Of course, we have to show that there are some ills which are affecting our polity. We'll deal with them as I go on. Then another favorite whipping boy of all of you is bureaucracy. That Babu, from cabinet secretary down to everybody, you call them Babu contemptuously. Your stereotype in your mind is lazy and inefficient and corrupt. You'll be surprised to know that one of the very few countries, probably the only country in the world, where this entire election is conducted by bureaucracy. Only bureaucracy and nobody else. And once they come under election commission control, they deliver. They deliver a perfect election, a zero error election. Because zero error is the margin that we allow them. And why? Because, and what does an error mean? An error will mean law and order problem. It can lead to murders. It can lead to chaos. It will lead to repoll. It will lead to suspicion about the entire process. So sometimes, after all, they are human. And who are they? School teachers, revenue officers, district petty officials of various departments. And suppose a presiding officer forgets to press the close button at the end of the poll. Without that, the result cannot be taken out. People start suspecting, look, machine has been already tampered with. Now, because as if there is some error or there is a mock poll, before the poll there is a mock poll in all our 1 million polling stations. To see that the machine is functioning fine and every candidate and agent certifies, yes, we saw the machine, it mock poll was perfect. Sometimes he forgets to erase the mock poll. So those 50, 60, 70 votes get added to the main thing. We don't know who those were, so we have to order the repoll. Now, in such a situation, zero error is what we allow. And I think after the last general election, Mr. Bimal Jalan commented on the performance of bureaucracy. Same notorious bureaucracy worked perfectly. 11 million people delivered our last election, Sucheta ji. Of course, it is not as large an exercise as you did in getting 24 NGOs together, but we have a fairly large task. 11 million people conducted elections for the last general election with no margin. Then media, a great ally and support, our eyes and ears. We have made it very clear to our officers, the entire machinery, that whatever the media shows you or it writes about, you take it as a formal complaint. Don't wait for any complaint. Don't wait for any order from the election commission. You're seeing it for yourself on the TV. Take action, initiate proceeding. And it has been working beautifully. And we send thousands, maybe 2, 3, 4 lakh video cameras are sent around in general election to see what's happening on the ground, just to catch malpractices by the politician. Now, if media is doing the same thing, they are only helping us, they are supplementing our effort. And sometimes they do it faster than us. So, many famous cases have originated from the media. I would like to mention, for instance, there was one case when one young politician indulged in a very nasty hate speech, which he had delivered for 14, 15 days before actually it was shown on the TV. Rajdeep Sardesai called me at 12:30 in the night. Sir, have you seen this? I said, no. Say, wait for 5 minutes, I'll show it again. So when I saw, it was really something shocking. So we requested him to send the CD the next morning, which he did at 11 o'clock in the morning. Then we had our commission meeting when we all saw. We were all shocked. Of course, issued model code notice, FIR registered and everything. But it has escaped the attention of our election machinery. It has escaped notice of the opposition parties because they are the first to complain. Nobody had complained. But at least thanks to vigilant media, we got to see, and these are the things which we do all the time. Then sixth source of our power is civil society. All of you, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you are vigilant, we cannot really deliver. And we have, recently, we have tried to reach out to the civil society. We have opened our doors in the last 2-3 years to civil society, to people, to everybody. And through your eyes, we get to see what's happening on the ground. In Tamil Nadu elections, for instance, civil society mobilization was fantastic. And as a result, every day on my BlackBerry, I was receiving at least 300 messages, SMSs or email of some malpractice happening somewhere or the other. And now at the same time, this communication doesn't have to be one way. It has to be two-way communication. As Sucheta ji mentioned on Twitter, if you just keep silent and you only keep receiving, the people also lose interest in you and lose faith in you. So you have to respond. So whenever we got such a complaint, I had given my mobile phone to my PA when I was not able to access it myself. Immediately the complaint would be forwarded to the collector of that particular district or returning officer of the observer, whosoever the complaint concerned. In half an hour, 1 hour or 4 hours, when you get a phone call from the district collector, okay, did you complain to CEC about this? And these are the details. Look at the faith which it generates. And as a result, what was happening? The people, instead of lapping up the money and the gift and the saris and the dhotis which were being distributed, they were complaining to us. Okay, just now, from the window, somebody had thrown a bundle of dhotis and sari. Please catch them. And immediately we will alert the nearest flying squad and catch them. Just now somebody has slipped under our door an envelope containing 5,000 rupees. Please catch them. They could have pocketed with thanks, but they didn't. Which is the reason why when in those 5 elections we see there was 73 crore rupees, of which 62 was from Tamil Nadu alone, thanks to the civil society.